ॐ हरिः ॐ श्री श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीरामकृष्णशरणम् I offer my pranams at the holy feet of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Sarada Devi, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Ramakrishnananda Ji Maharaj, and the Divine Mother Durga. We have assembled here on this auspicious day of Navaratri to think over about this great country, Bharat, and its prospects. I just want you to travel back a century or more to Kanyakumari. Swami Vivekananda, an unknown wandering monk, a sannyasi, left the monastery in Baranagar, Kolkata, traveled across the length and breadth of this holy land, seeing the dire, appalling poverty of this great land which had once the GDP. The GDP of this land was second or first competing with China. He arrived in Kanyakumari. He could not bear the pain which he experienced in his travels. He swam across the ocean, Indian Ocean, and reached a small rock which is now the Vivekananda Rock Memorial. And there he meditated. Being a monk, a Hindu monk, we would have expected him to meditate on some goddess, maybe Divine Mother Durga or his Guru Sri Ramakrishna. He did none of that. For 3 days, he meditated on Bharat, the past, the gorisome present under colonial rule and foreign invasion for 1,000 years, and what is the future ahead. He meditated for 3 days, and he had found some ways and means to uplift India. And that vision, I urge you to get through his writings, through the writings of our freedom fighters who got inspiration from Swamiji. Now directly coming to this topic, one anecdote I would like to share from Kanyakumari and traveling in Tamil Nadu. Swamiji was asked by the young men of Madras to go to US to participate in the World's Parliament of Religion, which was being held in Chicago in 1893. On the way, he stopped in Japan to see this great nation. And he wrote back in a letter to Alasinga Perumal, the headmaster of Pachayappa school, writing how Japan had awakened to the necessity of modern times. Swamiji writes, they're keen on making everything they need in their own country. That was the thing which was going on in Japan, and Swamiji noticed, and he's writing to Alasinga Perumal. And there he met one businessman, Jamsetji Tata. He asked him why he was there. Tata told he was there to simply import matchsticks. Swamiji exclaimed why he was there simply to import things. Swamiji said, rather, you should try to manufacture in India. If you can produce in India, First, the money will be circulated within the country. He will be able to offer jobs to our own people. Moreover, for the growth and development of the nation, we need science and manufacturing technology. These 4 points Swamiji told Jamshedji Tata, and which is very relevant even today. And I hope youngsters of this country know that it is the inspiration from Swami Vivekananda which is instrumental behind the establishment of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Having said that, I want to talk 2 points. Because of some foreign or colonial ideologies, be it political, economic, social, we think a developed India, which necessarily takes into account the majority in India, those professing the Hindu faith or Sanatana Dharma, that a developed India is a threat for survival of others, for existence of others. This is taught to us through distorted foreign political, social, economic ideologies. I urge my young friends that this is a wrong notion perpetuated by our foreign colonial rulers or foreign powers to thwart our progress. You must recognize this point. Just to tell you, we have seen during COVID how India supplied vaccine to many countries. And our philosophy is from the Vedic age, Ekam Sadvipra Baudha Vadanti. Truth is one, sages call it by various names. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Let all be happy, not only Indians, all. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Swamiji, after getting tremendous success in the world's parliament of religion, which was organized to showcase superiority of one particular religion, Swamiji says, there, I am proud to belong to a nation which has sheltered the persecuted and the refugees of all religions and all nations on the earth. And the Israelites, the Zoroastrian, the Syrian Christians, everyone was sheltered in India because of our inherent philosophy of tolerance and universal acceptance. This is ingrained in Indians' ethos from the Vedic age. And Swamiji says in that parliament lecture, do I wish that a Christian would become a Hindu? God forbid. Do I wish the Hindu or Buddhist would become a Christian? God forbid. He says, as a seed grows, taking help from the earth, from the air, from the light, but it remains a seed. An apple seed becomes an apple tree. A banana tree becomes a banana tree. Similarly, we have to assimilate good things from each other, but coexist. That is the India's mission. And Swamiji says, help not fight, assimilation not destruction, harmony and peace not dissension. That is Indian spirit. And Swamiji says, India's role is to become a Vishwa Guru. India alone has this wisdom to teach to the world. And that wisdom can be taught to the world when we are economically and militarily, every aspect we are developed. Just to cite one more example, that J.J. Goodwin, a very devout Christian, he was a very good stenographer. He was hired by Swamiji's admirers to take shorthand note of Swamiji's lectures. He joined the team. He demanded very heavy charges. But after staying with Swamiji for 2-3 days, he said he would not take any money. Why? Now he said, if this man can do so much for humanity, why cannot I sacrifice a bit? And you will be surprised. He traveled with Swamiji to India, and he passed away in India, and he was cremated in his own faith. He was a Christian. He stayed with Swamiji. Swamiji did not convert him. His cemetery is there in Uti, in a church. That is the spirit of Swamiji. And people understand this dharma, this land is for welfare of all. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. One more point, I'll just close. Navaratri is going on, and I see so many sisters here. It is the women power, divine feminine, which is the sustainers of this universe. And you know, Mother Durga, all the demons, they threw away gods from the heaven. They were helpless. They could not do anything. Then they had to pray to the Divine Mother, and Divine Mother incarnated as the Mother Durga and vanquished the Asuras and restored the Devas into the Devaloka. So, I urge all the sisters here, you have a special role in the development of India. Divine Mother, you are all embodiment of Divine Mother. And you know, the head of Ramakrishna, this institution, is not Swamiji or Sri Ramakrishna. The head is Ma Sarada. This is accepted, and this is the practice here. Holy Mother is the supreme in Ramakrishna order. And Divine Mother, when she vanquished the Asura, Mahishasura, one point we must take care here, when we have to fight political forces, other forces which are adverse to our country, we have to talk to them in the terms they understand. The Asura was not getting killed because Mother, out of her compassion, out of her love for the all creation, whether it is good or bad, was not able to kill, feeling some hindrance. Then she drank some intoxicant so that she, for the time being, forgets her all compassion, and then only she killed. And you will find Rama, Krishna, especially Bhagavan Sri Krishna, to vanquish the enemy, to vanquish the evil forces, they had to strategically function. So, while we are open, we preach and we practice universal acceptance, at the same time, we must be clear, the protection of dharma belongs to those who practice that. If somebody is not practicing dharma, righteousness, who is very selfish, we have to strategically vanquish that force. With these words, I am very happy that our Department of Corporate Secretaryship, under the able leadership of the youngest HOD of the college, has organized this event. And we have very distinguished speakers. It is going to be an intellectual feast for all of us. I'll just conclude by reading a passage from the book which has been given to all of you, especially who are coming from other colleges. Swamiji writes, "Shall India die? Then from the world all spirituality will be extinct, all moral perfection will be extinct, all sweet souled sympathy for religion will be extinct, all ideality will be extinct, and in its place will reign the duality of lust and luxury as the male and female deities, with money as its priest, fraud, force, and competition its ceremonies, and the human soul its sacrifice. Such a thing can never happen. So whatever may be happening, please know that India will rise with contribution, and if we can contribute, we will be blessed. If we don't contribute also, India will rise. India will take its stride in this civilizational march. It is we who become blessed by taking part in this journey. Thank you. May Sri Ramakrishna bless us all.